The stage was set. The players in place. Passions were high. The scene began yesterday when Judas complained that Mary cleaned Jesus' feet with oil. His anger was already evident. His plan was beginning to show. Today, as they gathered around that table, we see two followers of Christ, two people who knew him, listened to him, and followed him. We see the two of them begin to change. And my friends, it's a change that can happen to anyone. For if we look, in all honesty, with what happened to Judas and Peter, we can see the roots of truly all sin. It's usually rooted in weakness, in fear, in worry, and in anxiety. Judas was afraid. He didn't agree with the way Jesus was going about things. He didn't really agree with the whole notion of love your enemies. He wanted a little more action. There was things going on in their lives that he wanted Jesus to take care of. He didn't agree with the direction that Jesus was going in. And so he plotted and planned to have Jesus removed because he didn't agree with Jesus. He didn't agree with his direction. He thought his own opinion was more important. What started as fear in Judas turned to selfishness, would turn to sin. Peter, a good man, a follower, a listener, yet a man who could still fall victim to that original sin, born of fear. Before the cock crows, you will deny me 3 times. Why? Because Peter was afraid. Jesus would be led away. He would see it unfold, and then they would turn to him. You were with him. No, not me. He was afraid. He gave in to the fear. He gave in to the anxiety, and fear turned to sin. My friends, you and I still live in a world in which that can happen to any one of us. But, we read this story post-resurrection. We know, because of our baptism, that we have been drawn into the power and the sanctity, the divinity, the love of Jesus Christ. We know. And it was foretold in that first reading from Isaiah. When Isaiah wrote, "Hear me, O islands, listen, O distant people. The Lord has called me for my birth." I want to rephrase parts of this so that you and I can hear and remember and know the power that's ours because of Jesus Christ. Hear me, O people. Listen, all of you that can hear. The Lord has called you from birth. From your mother's womb, he's given you a name. He's concealed you from danger in the shadow of his arm. He's made you a polished arrow. He's called you to be his servant, his son, his daughter. The Lord speaks and will continue to speak, my friends, through us. Whenever we get afraid, whenever we become anxious, concerned, we are called to remember that he is our strength, and we won't wander away. We won't fall into shallow selfishness. We have been given the greatest gift the world has ever known, the presence and the power and the love and the strength of Jesus Christ to use every day of our life, so that when life gets worrisome, when we find ourselves afraid, we might know that he is ever by our side. giving us exactly what we need when we need it. Why? Why? For no other reason than he loves us. He loves us very, very much.